Hey everyone! So today we're going to do something a little bit different, and I am going to go over a brief history of burlesque and where the origins began. And I'm doing this as a setup for two of the costumes that I will be showing you a little bit later in the video. And the origins can date back as far back as ancient Greece, where they would use a form of burlesque as a way to poke fun of religious and authoritative figures. And I really want to show people through this that there's so many stories and historical context that goes behind burlesque. It's not just the stripping that you see it today, although that is a big part of it. It's so rich in its history and also the costumes that go into it. As I said, they are created to make stories, and that is the one big takeaway I would love for you guys to learn about. So what is in a costume? In burlesque costumes, a lot of them are handmade. For the burlesque performers that gained more success, they were able to get costumes handmade for them. But for the most part, a lot of burlesque performers ended up just making all of their costumes themselves. Now, if you've seen burlesque costumes in photos or have been lucky enough to see one up close and personal, you'll notice just how intricate a lot of these costumes are. From the beading, jewels, the embroidery, the sequins, everything. They were so ornate. They were really meant to be seen from afar on stage. And these are some examples from my personal collection and some pieces that I really think represent just how ornate a lot of these costumes really were and how long they've survived as well. Now, burlesque through the ages. 18th century versus 19th century burlesque. In the 18th century, it was much more theatrical. It was meant for the middle class, and they focused a lot on literature and music. As opposed to the end of the 19th century, it became a lot more risque and sexual. And they really poked fun of a lot of social norms. But when you transitioned into the 20th century, you had a lot more sexuality and more performance art. And you saw here Mata Hari, who was a spy, but she really brought in that sense of mystery and mystique to burlesque. And she's definitely one of my favorites growing up. But here we have two of the biggest burlesque performers to come out of the 20th century. On the left is the amazing Josephine Baker, and on the right is the Gypsy Rose Lee, who the Broadway show and film Gypsy were based on. And these are two women that really transformed the art of burlesque. And in a lot of their costumes, they were so ornate and they all told a story. The fun part about a lot of these costumes were that they came with multiple pieces. It wasn't just about how fast you can take something off, it was the process and every layer that can be revealed under it to display more and more beautiful costume pieces. Burlesque had a little bit of a downturn in the 1970s and 1980s, and it wasn't what we see today. The resurgence of burlesque really started in the late 90s, early 2000s with the appearance of Dita Von Teese, someone who really wanted to bring the power of burlesque back and bring it back to its ultimate art form. And she's really credited with bringing it into even more popularity today and much more widespread and socially acceptable. Now onto the collection, the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's jump right on into the costume pieces. Now this beauty is a 1960s beaded four-piece burlesque set, and it includes an armband and a matching choker. I mean, how gorgeous is this, you guys? The video quality is not that great. I apologize. Again, I am not Steven Spielberg, just doing this for fun. But just look at how ornate all of this is. I mean, everything was hand beaded. We'll, in a little bit, show you a little bit of the innards of this costume just to see how much work really went into this beauty. And we'll show you a little bit better photos coming up as well, but this is one of my all-time favorite pieces. I mean, emerald green, you've got a poison ivy vibe, the leaves, the little leaf beading, everything. I mean, look at this. The hand stitching, come on. This is just amazing. I'm a little in love, I have to admit. But now I'll shut up, and you can just enjoy the beauty of this amazing piece. All right, so this is one of my wounded birds, but also one of my favorite pieces. Now, this is from either the late 40s, early 50s, and as you can tell, it's a little worse for wear, and I'm not sure what happened to it in its lifetime, but I think it had a lot of use. But look at all of these hand-studded rhinestones gathered around the middle. On the right-hand side of it, you can tell a lot of those rhinestones have fallen off. The strap is a little disintegrated. How beautiful is this? The sheerness. I can only imagine what this looked like in its heyday, but my, this is one of my favorites. You have the red, emerald, clear rhinestones all centered around that nipple area. This one's pure magic. But now I'm just going to let you sit and enjoy this beautiful burlesque piece.